It's been a while, yeah. You are not wrong, brother. It's been a little bit since we've been on YouTube. What up, Mike? Good morning, dog. We've been in the Discord for quite some time here, but switching it up today. Cool. We'll look for some buy sides today. Whoever took yesterday off had a pretty bullish movement. We came off that daily swing point, so yeah, huge expansion, slight pullback, right? Displacement again. We're holding the 1 hour fair value gap. We'll look for that to just continue to hold, accelerate us into this buy side, and then eventually we'd like to see this external range here. Eventually working back towards all-time highs. Cool. So for now, off the opening, as we said, we're going to look for bullishness. We need to see some type of pullback, ideally, however. So at 9:30, with our current delivery, a lot of lows here. So we'd like to pull back maybe into like this liquidity void that we have left here. We'll see if 9:30 can't get animated, create some downside movement. But ultimately, we're looking for a pullback, support, and then we'll look for that acceleration. Let's move this. Cool. All right, we'll wait for the open. Yeah, actually wouldn't mind that. If we get a pullback into like the 5-minute inversion here, anchor to the low, the 4 hour, that would be a good spot for price to hold. That liquidity void is actually tied with that, so we'll look for that there. Get the old double SMT, that's always lovely. Real mix so far. But in general, we're just kind of stuck here in this range. So once we've delivered into this higher time frame forward, we've been pretty range bound. But we'd love to see a little bit of an expansion. 4 hour, cool. We actually closed, okay. So as far as a 5-minute, 5-minute here was inverted. So let's say that we want to stay bullish. We're gonna have to watch this. I'd like to see this one for a little deeper retracement, but if we hold here and accelerate, we'll understand. We'll have to get on board with that. About to open up, see what we get. So 2 potential areas of discount we're looking at. The 5-minute inversion. Notice that we have a few volume balances in there actually. So this volume balance is pretty much equilibrium perfectly, midpoint. So we'd like to at least see that. Oh, we couldn't even get any of the lows. Wow. So NQ does kind of what we wanted to see there, right? It runs lower right off the opening, picking up these lows. ES holds that perfect low. So at this point, we'd actually like to see it run up, back down, mixed opening. If we just ran bullish from here, it'd be pretty hard to find an entry on the way up. But for now, we'll look for a little pullback. That's this very aggressive G's. As you said, pretty mixed here. Give it a little bit. And so this is our external range here that we want to see. If we get up there first, we'll actually look for a reversal after that, and we're going to target some of these inefficiencies left behind. So if we just stay bullish and create this run here, I like the idea of, yeah, trying to reverse on itself. We have our opening range here as well. Pull that up. Right midpoint is the high of the 5 minute. That's why we would at least like to see that. We want to see these lows get cleared here. If we can clear these lows and then create some type of structure, we'll look to at least trust that. In the meantime, we have left this bullish fair value gap here. So this was right at the 9:30 opening. We do leave that inefficiency. We'll see if that's going to try to hold price, send it into this swing point. So far, we said pretty mixed. NQ a little bit cleaner as far as running the lows. That's what we wanted to see in ES. At least this low here, right? The fact that we kept those perfect equal lows makes me think that we're going to have to target those here. Could be now. We may have to wait for the buy side. Ideally, we do it first, so then we could try to get involved on that run higher. That is insane there. Jeez. Love to see this get inverted, especially because we already held it once. So we trade into it, we hold it perfectly, we close below it. As we say, if we end up negating that, that's going to be a pretty strong bullish signature. Closing below a level, immediately negating that. Closure above, we'll expect this high to be the target next. Price should continue to push up for that buy side. Still could not get those lows. As we said, we wanted to see at least the lows. We want some type of pullback into an inefficiency here. If we just keep running, we'll have to follow it all the way up into that buy side. Look for a short off of that level. Still got 20 seconds. We'll see if this candle could snap back below the actual fair value gap. That'd be ideal. Hold that with the candle body. Wick could do the damage. Body should remain below the fair value gap. Try to pick up that low that we created this morning. And as we said, opening range midpoint tends to be revisited. So if we can see that, that aligns perfectly with the top of the 5 minute fair value gap we're looking at here. I'm doing well, brother. How are you? We've been inside the Discord for some time, so I figured it's time to hop back on YouTube. Get a little YouTube streaming. Price action been a grind the last couple months, though. Hopefully you guys have been staying safe, having success. Subpar price action, no doubt. Nice. Sorry, so we did end up holding that. That was good. As we said, the wick did go all the way up to the previous candle's high. Pretty early, though, we allow wicks to do some damage. Body told the story. We can actually remain inside the fair value gap. So we're still looking for this candlestick to either stay below midpoint or close below it fully and just continue to print lower. Said, want to see the 5 minute. Ideally, the actual volume imbalance here would be best case. So we'll leave that because we want to see that itself. Opening range, yeah. Let's say for a second that we accelerate pretty quickly actually through this volume imbalance, that we close below the 5 minute and our opening range. That to me is a little more bearish, and we'd actually have to see if the opening range wouldn't create some type of premium to then accelerate price. As we said, we have a lot of lows here. Right, starting here really. From this low, it's all higher lows, right? Low, higher 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 low. Right, equal lows, higher low, higher low. This is the first time we've picked up a short-term swing point. Yeah, let's see what we get, especially if NQ wants to stay heavy here. Right, we've cleared the highs on both now. we actually traded perfectly into that 4 hour, right? So this 4 hour fair value gap here, midpoint's been holding us once, twice. That's what held us again. So it seems like we actually don't want to get above that. And we close below. All right, let's see if we leave that fair value gap. We leave this fair value gap open here. That's going to be today's first presented, anchored to a higher time frame. And it's also anchored to the low of our opening range. That should hold. Bearish. Right, and then as we say, we really would look for like this low here. If we're extremely bearish, we're going to obviously come for external range, but we don't need to aim for that much. Oof, I might just run. So I gave one quick tap of that 5 minute. Ran, I was hoping it would actually leave a fair value gap. We could try to be involved in that. There's that liquidity void we were looking at as well. Also, you notice that the discounts pretty much aren't holding. We're falling right through those. So I think we'll try this actually. A little early. That's fine. Let's open up. We'll go 6. And we'll aim for like this original liquidity over here. So we won't even need to get the current low. We'll aim for that low there. It might just fall. Wow, we look pretty aggressive actually. We might just fall right into that. But I like the framework. All right, so the 5 minute, we've inverted that. We've inverted the volume balance. We leave today's first presented there. We actually left a volume balance anchored as well. A lot of confluence. That's a trade we take again. If we're offside, probabilities just went for us. And we'll look for another one. But I like this here. As we said, we'll target the original liquidity. And then we'll look to get a partial off. Like if this becomes a swing low, we get entered. We'll just look to partial at that swing low. All right, so the actual entry mechanic will be the first presented. So we'll just keep that up there. We actually close. Okay. So now we have 2 fair value gaps here. And with how aggressive we are, I actually think the lower one is going to try to hold here. I don't like being entered there because we're going to have to allow for the higher one. So we're going to leave this entry. Look for a deeper pullback. We don't want the lowest premium to actually hold in this instance. We want to see a little bit more of a pullback into the first presented. Oh, beautiful. Okay. So we get entered there. Now we could actually partial out it. We could do ends model. We got a little slippage. Let's see. I'd love to see this low, but that's a little... We'll actually go for that. I like that. So to start the week, we'll be a little more aggressive, right? You could close ends model, which means you could partial at this volume imbalance. That's already 5 handles, right? So you could have been out there. We're going to aim for a little bit more, see if we can't get the low. I actually don't like the fact that we did close above the inversion. Okay, so we enter on the first presented. We should get the swing high. But now that we close above this bearish, we have a chance of holding that as a discount and this volume imbalance. And we could see a V-shaped recovery here. So this really needs to become a swing high. If we end up running through this high here with this candle, more than likely we get bullish again. Short route, we're using the inversion 5 minute. So prices ran out the short-term high here. We've delivered into the 4 hours midpoint once again where we reject. We then displace through the 5 minute. That should have held us bullish, leaving a premium volume balance, leaving today's first presented aligned with that. Right, so not only are we flipping discounts into premiums, we're creating new premiums in the same exact place. That's added confluence, right? So we should look for those to hold. And we do get the swing high, nice. But as we say, we need to get below. We're actually going to partial here at this low. Beautiful. So that's a partial there. That's about 8 handle. That'll be 7 handles. What's happening? Never mind. We're not going to get it because we are lagging. Oh. That's unfortunate. So we actually didn't get that because the limit was not set before price delivered into that. And then Q clears those lows. So we actually need to see ES stay heavy here. Potential area of reversal. So we'd love to get our partial. Once we get partial, I'm just deciding if we want to go break even quick this morning. Let's see how we close this candle. If this candle closes like below midpoint of this wick here, and we can get partialed out, we'll go straight break even. This is a current rejection block, so we do get the partial. Yeah, start the week. Let's go no risk, right? So we already secured some. We got a nice little, what is that, 8 handle? Yeah, 7.5, cool. So we secured the 7.5. We partial there at midpoint of the potential rejection block. You could aim for the low, right? We're just going for low hanging fruit. We catch the swing high beautifully. So now we target this low here. That becomes our exit. This isn't even the external range either. External range would be here, but just in case we don't want to get that, we're going to aim for this one tick above it. And that'll be our final exit point. At this point, we should hold now this fair value gap. We shouldn't have to get back above that, so I'm fine going here even. We'll cut more risk. Stop loss could be put to this candlestick's high. Closure below the swing point is beautiful for us. And we should see price fall pretty quick. That's actually real heavy. If we close below this, I might allow this to try to run for the external range, actually. I don't mind that. Sure. As we said, we already secured some. Profit is, or stop is in profit. So we'll look to get the swing low here. NQ seems pretty bearish. We'll see if we can't keep that up. We left a little fair value gap now here in ES, so we would like to see that hold the bodies. Wick can go up into this fair value gap, but bodies should remain below this one if we're going to stay bearish here. With the premium, we'd love to see the rejection from here, as we mentioned. We get stopped out. I think let's see, it's only 9:45, not even 10 yet. We might go for one more entry. Go in with lower risk, so that way, even if it is loser, it'll be a break even on the day. Right? I don't really tend to like to give back profits. Like if we have a winning trade, I'm not going to try to go in again and risk more than the profits gave us, if that makes sense. We break structure here, new stop loss. So we'll just continue to move the stop. This structure continues to break down. All right, if we run bullish from here, we'll just reset it, look for something new. We opened with the bullish volume balance. So I'd love to see that actually be closed in, right? We want to see the bodies hold this fair value gap. We'd like to see this volume balance close in, that way we're not leaving behind discounts. It'd be especially bad if this stayed open and we close above the fair value gap at the same time. So this can stay open, but we have to at least try to stay below the fair value gap here with the body. That does happen. Okay. Unfortunately now, as we say, we do have that as a discount. So we have to watch as price trades into that. It's going to try to hold there, try to bounce. We need to see price fall right through it. Right, so that's the first retest. You see immediately, right, we reject from it. So we're going to have to be watching that now, the volume imbalance there. We need to see price fall through that, closure below the swing point, and then we'll be able to adjust our stop loss accordingly. NQ is holding its liquidity void. So that's good. Holding it perfectly with the bodies. Right, we should see the acceleration lower. Same thing here. So instead of the liquidity void, it's just a fair value gap. Same idea, different PD array. So far we're looking good. We got the beautiful swing high. We just need to swing low exit. Cherry on top as always. We close below the actual volume imbalance we just created, so we'd like to see the bodies try to hold that now as well. Wick can go into the fair value gap, but now we want to see body remain below volume imbalance. So immediately we go up into that. That's fine. All right, let the wick. We have to wait for the actual candle to close. This can reject all the way still back below. Can't be too early with it. Nice, so it looks like we are going to, can we get below the volume imbalance? We do not, unfortunately. So fair value gap currently still holding. Because this candle got into the higher fair value gap, I'd actually like to see that be the swing high. If we continue to push higher, that's actually a little bit more bullish, and we may try to run through our stop loss here. Nice. We want to see that there. Second time we close below. At this point, we really need to stay below that, right? We don't want to keep going back and forth because then that means consolidation or reversal. Right, so like we close below it here, the next candle closes above. This candle closes below. So if this candle closes back above, we're just getting into, as we say, just consolidation here at the low of the 4 hour. We still like this fair value gap because it's anchored to the low. We'll just have to kind of spend some time here before the next break is what the expectation would turn out to be. Just picked up the equal highs. We'll see if we snap back inside this range or not. We can do that. This should be the swing high, and then we'll look to get a break lower from here, especially if this candlestick gets all the way back below the original fair value gap here. Even if it gets below the volume imbalance, that's even better, right? We should see the very next candle snap. Oh, wow. Okay, so just like that, that should be the high. We should not come back up for that swing point. If we do, right, we're spending way too much time here. NQ actually cleared that low, so that'd be even worse if we came for that high after NQ clearing the low. SMT there. We want to see NQ stay heavy. ES catch up to NQ, 6 sister it. That'll be our new protected swing point as well, right? So once we can run this low, stop loss will get moved to that swing high. Still looking here. As we said, once this candlestick closes below, we should not see a candlestick return above at this point. Second pass through after trading into the higher premium and clearing a short-term swing point. Only region we should come back up for that high is if we're going to reverse and get bullish. Right? So that's why we don't want to see that at all. Closure above the volume imbalance turns it into a discount. That's going to hold the body to accelerate it into this inefficiency here. As we said, if we run that high, more than likely we're going to come back up. This becomes a failure swing, intermediate swing point here, especially because that SMT. Yeah, okay. So right, we saw that one coming. As we said, SMT at the low, inverting the volume imbalance, running back for the swing point. Thing is, we are just consolidating, so there's a good chance we still want to get this sell side. At this point, we were able to partial out, get stop and profit. We're not going to be in a rush to try to re-enter, as we said. No need to give back profits. If we do go back in, we'll go back in with one entry, or one contract, excuse me. That way, that contract being stopped will be a break even on the day. We're not going to give back profits. That's actually pretty bullish here. Let's clean this up a little bit. So right, we failed to hold the volume imbalance. We accelerate through the wick. That wick becomes a discount there. So I would actually almost expect reversal here. SMT sets it into motion. We get above first presented. We should be free to run into that buy side. We can actually probably target that again. So currently, as we said, right, we displace above our new day opening gap. We're looking at this wick here as the current discount that should support price. So we're going to watch and see what happens. If we leave a fair value gap there, that's even added confluence. right? A fair value gap aligned perfectly with the wick high, and it looks like that's actually going to take place, leaving the fair value gap there in NQ as we close above the liquidity void. So yeah, to me, these have all flipped bullish now. So we're going to look for a run higher. Yeah. Fair value gap, liquidity void should hold here. Fair value gap wick should hold ES. And then we'll look for first presented to get traded through. Back inside the original 5 minute. Might even get back. That might become a breakaway there. If we get above first presented, we're actually going to look at this as a breakaway. This price is already balanced in here. Right, from this high to this low, that's the current range here. Everything within this range is balanced, right? So even though there's an inefficiency, technically on the 1 minute candlestick, you look to the left, we notice that price has already gone up and down through that inefficiency prior to. So that really doesn't need to be traded into. So especially if we're going to trade above and close above first presented, we'll look for this wick like this. So we actually would want to see this become a breakaway. Same idea in NQ. We actually like to see that be a breakaway. That's going to signal bullishness and price should just push. So then we would want to see, right, like this premium be inverted in NQ. We'd want to see price close above that, use that as support, and not even get near this fair value gap. So we actually do close above. Okay. We can confirm that. We'll go ahead and use that. Kind of like pretty much as we're saying. And just look for that final release into the buy side there. We'll go in expecting this to be a breakaway gap. One contract, as we said, because that will be so that'll be a little bit actually less than what the partial was. So if we get a stop here, we'll still be able to end the day barely in profit. It'll be very minuscule, but we take that. Be something like I don't even know if we'll get that. We might just go release and run. All right, we'll put it in just in case we get the pullback back. Oh, and the volume bounce. So more than likely, actually, we don't even get there unless we could hold the 4 hour midpoint. Might be able to hold us one more time, get us into first presented, and then from there we'll see the expansion. So we're locked in here. Win or loss, this will be the last trade for today. NQ did exactly what we wanted to see, right? Pushing right through the fair value gap, turning it into an inversion that should now hold. So these should become breakaway gaps. We don't want to see these be traded into. Let's remove those. Yeah, okay. We'll actually just stay bullish here. That's fine. All right, we see the run, we just don't get involved. NQ would have given us a chance using that. ES, not really much of a chance there. Like only entry for me, right, would have been using the wick, but I don't even think we got entered on that because it tapped it perfectly there. So we probably would have missed that. We then would have used first presented as it closes above here, right? We missed that. So just missed entry. Not much we could do about that. It runs nicely. It's a nice run into our objective. Bias is correct. Sometimes that happens, so still have a chance actually. If we fall short of it, we'll leave this entry. Once we clear buy side, we'll remove the entry. But if we could stay short of it and give a pullback, we'll keep that there. And then Q entry would look like this. We actually have a fair value up there. That's even better. Look at the 1 minute fair value gap. And then we would have to allow for this fair value gap here to be traded into, so candle would be below that candlestick there. So the fact that we left that volume imbalance as we clear the old high, that actually to me, mitigation block, okay. So yeah, very unlikely we get this entry here. If anything, we're going to hold here. It's kind of like the last line of defense as far as a discount. I don't see this going much lower than this until buy side's targeted. Once buy side's hit, then it'll be interesting. We'll kind of have to reassess. That'll be external range. From there, I'm still interested in maybe trying to get some lows. I don't know. We'll see. Don't have really a hard line bias today. All right, so there goes the buy side. Let's get ready to remove this. Volume imbalance should stay open right in the buy side there. And boom. All right. Dang, cool. Well, I mean, good run. Unfortunate, right? Just no real entry for us there. Can't be too upset about it. The only real entry you could have done is an immediate entry using this volume imbalance. So as we said, the fact that this candlestick closed below, we should have stayed below that. Let's move this. Very next candle runs the equal highs. Returns all the way back below the volume imbalance. That should have been the swing point. We should not have gotten back above the volume imbalance. So the fact that we close above that, you could have immediately used that level, right, as a discount. That's a very aggressive entry. That's why we're obviously not looking for that, and we're looking for shorts still. It's always nice to look in hindsight at potential areas of how you could be entered. So next time you know what to look for. Right, if you were looking for longs, especially after the SMT there, right, so that would have been pretty good confirmation to trust that that volume imbalance would have held. We had SMT at the lows, we created the failure swing, holding an intermediate swing point, inverting the volume imbalance. Entry would have been on that. So now as we accelerate, we do close above the buy side. There's a higher time frame. We want to wait for like a 2 or 5 minute, ideally a 5 minute. 1 minute's a little too low to be trusted. Right, so we'll wait for a 5 minute to see if it can close above. If it stays below that, I think we can still actually stay range bound here. Let's kind of zoom back out, right? So far, we're really just staying inside this 4 hour. So even though we cleared the buy side, if we're going to stay range bound, we should pull back into this range here, get back into the fair value gap. So that's what we'll look for. So I'd actually like to see now this discount be inverted. That'd be the first sign we look for here. Already we did invert the volume imbalance. So the very last discount created as we trade into that buy side, we invert that. So if now you're extremely risky, right? Boom, like that. Obviously we'll want confirmation. So we'll wait for the fair value gap to get inverted. After fair value gap gets inverted, we should stay bearish from there and then see price trade back into our first presented here. We said that the 5 minute candlestick, all wick. So we'll watch here. This should be where we actually still hold if we want to create another bullish leg as well. So a good area to be looking at. I'm actually pretty interested to see if we're going to hold this volume imbalance here now. Trade back down into the fair value gap. Body holds that perfectly, respecting the old high as well. We can get some type of SMT at this high here with NQ. Oops. That'd be nice. Right, so if we like held this volume balance, broke structure lower, well, NQ actually ran that high and then broke structure. Give us even more reason to trust this as an inversion that we could use. Still waiting to see what happens once we get into the volume imbalance here, though. All right, we have a little 1 minute fair value gap. That's what we're seeing here. For some reason, the bodies don't want to get in there, not even the wicks. But if we zoom in, we could see that. Very minuscule. But candle bodies are still holding that perfectly. So I'd actually like to see that be traded into first before we break. So see something where like we hold this fair value gap. Now that we've traded into it, we should bounce from here, hold that, trade into the fair value gap, hit the volume imbalance, and then from there we'll see. Ideally, what I would like to see is for then that to hold, break through this while NQ runs the high. So if that all took place, we then would get short using that fair value gap there. But all of that would have to take place. So if only one of them happened, we're not going to trust that. So like, let's say that we break here, but NQ doesn't run that high. We're not going to try to get short there. Yeah, so something like this, right? We're looking for a bounce here. Wick into volume imbalance, body hold, fair value gap. Closure below, we could even test one more time. Then we want to see fall through. Use that. Yeah, something like that. While NQ cleared the high. Right, and then even one more time, but clear the high and then break structure lower to then use that. In consolidations, after delivering into external ranges, right, we expect the consolidation. So we're not thrown out here. We completely expect price to consolidate after delivering into the external range, especially after, right, a bullish run like this. So when we have straight bullishness, could be bearish, doesn't really matter. When we have expansion in any direction, notice that there was no down close candles from this low to this high. So this entire leg was all bullish. Expansion into liquidity will always be met by, right, consolidation at that liquidity. Now we're just trying to see if it wants to continue to expand, or if we're going to get a reversal here after this consolidation takes place. Ideally, we reverse, we come back into the range. But for now, we're just getting sideways. NQ a little bit worse. Right, at least ES is kind of respecting its PD arrays there. Not much here. And let's see, what do we have? Okay, so we do have some fair value gaps actually. Okay. And this is actually the 4 hour in ES, so a little important as well. Yeah, that's bull. Okay. Yeah, that's bullish there. So that to me, especially, right, notice we're inside of this large 4 hour fair value gap. We closed above its midpoint. We were holding that. Let's see if we leave some type of inefficiency here. Because when I'm looking at this now, I'm actually thinking that that's more bullish. So we deliver into the buy side, we consolidate. And now I would actually expect another expansion higher from here if we can leave an inefficiency aligned with our buy side. So that's kind of the caveat there. If we actually came back down below the buy side, I'd still look for the break lower. But it looks like we should just hold it. Jeez, excuse me. Okay. The old buy side gets absolute displaced through with an inefficiency. That's pretty bullish, honestly. That's a pretty good, yeah, that's fair. That's a valid setup there. I just like the idea of getting short, so I'd rather see that be inverted. And if it holds as a discount and we understand that, we just miss it, if we're being honest. I'm fine with that. So we're just going to hold on for our shorts. If we were bullish, like if I had the bullish bias, we go long here 100%. Like that. That should hold. And then we should accelerate into the 15 at least. High of the 4 hour at the minimum. Right here. But for some reason, the eye just favors a short. So I'm fine. Especially after we already secure profits, just sitting out of trades like this. But where we could see the long, but the actual bias I hold is not long. So because of that, this will be just a tape read. We'll follow it. If it holds, nice. Right, we saw that. We understand why. I would love to see this be inverted, though. If this can be inverted, we're going to get short there immediately. And we'll target first presented. I want to see first presented one more time. Oh yeah, look at that. Okay. Can't even get into the fair value gap. See if we run from here. Mm-hmm. All right, retesting it there for the first time. Let's see if we want to get below that. Said if we can invert that, we like the idea of getting short. If we're bullish, we hold here, we accelerate. We leave this as a protected low. Honestly, one more run wouldn't be bad. 3 drives off this here. Right, so like, that's the first. We hold. Second, if we could hold third, then invert. Even better. Well, let's see. Okay. So already we got below midpoint. We'll see if we can get outside of that fair value gap. Nice. So we'll see if we bounce from here. We kind of expect that. Ideally, we fall through. Oh, we might not get this entry either, though. If this closes below this fair value gap, we might actually just run. Wow. All right. I don't even know if I want to enter that now. No. Because from here, we can now flip bullish again, if we're being honest. That would have been my exit, right? From this fair value gap to first presented to get out, because that's going to be the reversal. It's midpoint of the range. From here, it's just tough because, right, we could really frame longs or shorts, and I don't like trying to enter in that aspect. Like if we can reclaim this bearish fair or the bullish fair value gap, we should hold that. This should be protected low. We should accelerate. At the same time, short-term high cleared, displacement through below, leaving a premium that's bearish. So you could frame both sides. Only thing is we didn't get the external range sell side. Oh, but we got the low first. Okay. Yeah, we might be right at a wash. Because the correlating liquidity to this high here is actually this low here. Right? This high to this low was the actual range. Let me just show you guys. Like this. So that was the actual range that we were within. So we actually cleared the sell side first, which means that's why buy side became the next objective. So after clearing the buy side, now both areas of this liquidity have been washed. That's when we could see price pretty much just hang out at equilibrium. And that's exactly where it's at right now. So because of that, I don't like trading there. We'll just call that, honestly. We're just in an unfavorable position for me to want to be looking for many more entries. Dang, unfortunate. So quick little recap this morning. We did want to see that buy side. We ended up getting it. Unfortunately, no entry up into it. Our trade came on the short here. So as we said, this 5 minute, we had a 5 minute, we had a volume imbalance, we had our opening range, all in that one area. So price should have held that if it wanted to stay bullish. Instead, it displaced right through that, leaving a volume imbalance, leaving today's first presented aligned with the old 5 minute fair value gap. No hesitation to enter on that. When we get short there, we trust that holds. Stop loss above the opening range, should not have to revisit that. And then we were looking for external range. We wanted to see that low, a little aggressive, but we partial as we get to the swing low. And then we get stopped out in profit as price returns against us. But so at that point, we then try to get long using the same first presented. Unfortunately, no pullback. We close above, we accelerate. We were looking for a pullback here off the buy side. We wanted to see this get inverted. It does. Unfortunately, same thing. Closure below just runs. Right, so it doesn't give us entries on the way up or the way down. But we were able to capture our profits here on this little short at least. So good day. Could have been better. Can't complain though. If price moves into our objectives and we could see it moving that way, that's all we really ask for. Is to be on side, to be in sync with what the market's going to do. The entries will come. So yeah, going forward, as we said, I really don't have like a hard line bias. Yeah, this is pretty gross. Let's hide all this. It's like if we looked at a higher time frame, like let's go to a 4 hour. 4 hour. I mean, I'd like to see the buy side, I guess, but we could easily get stuck here for a while inside this fair value gap and come back down for these lows. So we'll say in a macro sense, we do want to see this high. But it may be a struggle to get there, so we can't just go in blindly looking to long going forward. Yeah, okay. So we'll just see what it does the rest of the day. We'll come back tomorrow, make up a new game plan, and keep it rolling. Tomorrow we have, should just be a normal stream. High impact news at 6:30 once again, I believe. We actually have NFP tomorrow. Interesting. CPI Friday, they flipped it. Okay. So we have NFP tomorrow morning. We'll come back after that to 8:30. So we'll be here about 9:25, same time that we got here today. And we'll see what we can get then. Yeah, glad to be back on YouTube. Next YouTube stream, we'll start to do it more often, at least once a week this year. All right, last year we got pretty bad with it. But we'll try to give y'all some free streams. If you want to be in the streams every day, right, that's for the Discord. That's going to be just a lot more education, a lot more clarity and things like that. Not needed. Just if you want more learning opportunity. Yeah, for YouTube, we'll try to be back next Monday, I think. We'll use our Twitter to let people know about that. I did say that last time, right? That's why it's dangerous. And I've been saying this on the Discord. I was going to be doing it for like the last month too. We'll try to be better about it though. As you said, new year, we'll make that a better plan. Get more YouTube streams in. Yeah, appreciate you all that sat in today. Glad to be back. We'll try to be better about it going forward. But until then, we'll be back in Discord tomorrow morning for those that are in about 9:25. So have a great rest of the afternoon, everybody. Stay safe. Hope you guys have a great day. And we will talk again tomorrow morning. See you guys then.